worker communities in South Africa often lack access to quality education, health, nutrition, and social work services. At the Pebbles Project, we envision a world where these communities are supported and have equal access to services and opportunities. This is the Pebbles Project story. We envision a world where every pregnant mother is supported and guided and has a healthy pregnancy. Where every pregnant mother has access to quality healthcare services and transportation. We envision a world where every baby is born healthy and given the best start to life, where they are looked after in a safe, nurturing, and stimulating environment while their parents are at work. We envision a world where children receive quality early education in their formative years so they can reach their academic potential and be emotionally and socially secure. Happy, healthy, and playful children who feel free to express themselves. We envision a world where every child receives nutritious cooked meals prepared daily by the Pebbles Kitchen, which contributes to their overall mental and physical well-being. Children who are sick are unable to learn optimally. We envision a world where every child has access to quality healthcare services and transportation. We envision a world where school-going children receive quality primary school education and are given all the academic support and resources needed to thrive, where children can enjoy themselves through extramural and sporting activities. We envision a world where children have access to extra academic support, tutors, and reading materials. Pebbles provides these services through our innovative mobile resource centers. We envision a world where young adults are assisted in studying at tertiary institutions, as well as gaining important life and practical skills to become contributing members of society. This is us. We are the Pebbles Project. We are proud to be changing lives in the Western Cape of South Africa. Will you join us?
Hello and welcome to The Good Interview. I am your host, Colin Birch, and with me today I have the lovely Sophia Warner, the CEO of the Pebbles Project here in Stellenbosch. Sophia, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for allowing us to have this interview with you guys. The work that you guys do is incredible. And let's just dive straight into it.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah,
It's good to have you here.
Great to be here. What critical issue was it that gave rise to the Pebbles Project?
So I came over from the UK 21 years ago, 2003. My background was in special needs teaching. And it was at a time when fetal alcohol syndrome or fetal alcohol spectrum disorders was very big in the media at the time.
I see.
My sister works in the wine industry, so it was this perfect storm of wine industry, education, fetal alcohol syndrome. So we decided to set up an organisation that would address some of those challenges in the wine farm communities. So that was the original focus of the organisation. And now our focus has expanded hugely from that initial very tight focus. But that really was the challenge or the problem that we were trying to address at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And how long did it take you guys before you branched out, and how have you branched out since?
Well, our first vision was to have a centre for children affected by alcohol. But pretty quickly we worked out we needed actually to work with the communities on the farms. So rather than bringing a small number of children to a central location, we needed to take all of our services out to the farm location. So we very much changed from our original plan. So we started off with early childhood development, ECD centres for the younger children, and then gradually over the years have added on more and more programs and services. And now we're pretty much holistic, from looking after pregnant moms all the way through to looking after young adults before getting them ready to go off and fly the nest and be independent.
Incredible.
So, and everything in between we support now.
So would you mind describing, for those who aren't aware, some of these initiatives and programs that you guys offer?
So we have a maternal health program where we work with pregnant moms, trying to teach how to have a healthy pregnancy, avoid alcohol, avoid smoking, all of the things that are bad for a baby, and putting all the good things in. And then from that, when the babies are born, we work with the parents on bonding and attachment. Then the children then go through and join our ECD centres. Then they go through into our school enrichment program when they start primary school, and we take them through up to high school. We've got an early adulthood, which we're now calling the youth development program. So we then bring in youth from the farm communities and support them either in finishing matric or alternative training that they can do. Really, it's the intention to support them to be able to get a job at the end. So, that's our sort of all of our education programs, which is our core focus. And then underpinning all of that, we have a nutrition program where we feed the children, and we have a health service. So we offer primary healthcare, dental and wellness screenings.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it's every aspect of a child's life we're there to support. We've got a team of social workers as well. So if there's a problem in one area, we fix it with one solution. Everything is like a whole cogs and wheels. Everything all works together.
Okay. Yeah, wow, that's really cool. It is so necessary to have organizations of this kind that actually go the extra mile to make sure that the youth are not only getting the correct education but are healthy. They actually have the nutrients they need to grow, and especially for learning. It is incredibly important to have a proper dietary routine. And just constant nourishment in general for a growing body and a brain. So no, that's amazing. I'm really glad to hear it.
We've got a kitchen, our own commercial kitchen. So we actually produce the meals ourselves as well.
Really? Oh, wow.
From little pureed cubes for the babies in the centres. We also offer extra meals for the pregnant moms if they're not getting the nutrients that they need, so that we can support their nutritional intake through pregnancy. And then the children get a hot meal and breakfast and snacks through the day. So,
Wow, and it's fresh food too, not just any food. It's
it's nutritionally balanced. It's meat and vegetables and pulses and beans, and it's very healthy.
All the good stuff,
All the good stuff. It took a while for some of the children to get used to used to that, but we know at least by the end of the day they will have had all the nutrients that they need for a healthy diet. Yeah.
All right. No, I like that. So you guys have a film that is releasing soon called Kindness.
Yes.
I would like to know, what was the inspiration behind it, and what exactly was it, the message that you wanted to portray through it?
So we have one of our fundraisers, a young lady called Liesl Allers. She used to be in the film industry. She joined us as a fundraiser with her knowledge and background of filmmaking. She's very creative. It's our 20th birthday this year, Pebbles' 20th birthday, so kind of a significant milestone to have reached. And she said maybe she could make a short documentary about Pebbles and how we deeply impact people's lives. So we can tick off, yes, we provide educational resources, or yes, we do these meals. But when you actually interview people and find out how has your life totally changed as a result of the organisation, I think that's what Liesl was trying to do, was trying to get to the bottom of one act of kindness, taking from really my act of kindness, I guess, starting the organisation, but that every single act of kindness throughout the last 20 years, how it has impacted on someone's life. I didn't really know how she was going to make the film. I didn't know how it was going to end up. I didn't know even if it was the way that I would have portrayed the organisation. But when I watched it the first time when it was complete, I sat with tears rolling down my face. It's the most beautiful film, and it shows Pebbles in a totally different, fresh light. And yes, we're telling the story of a couple of beneficiaries out of the thousands that we've touched, but it's just those stories of a couple of beneficiaries that makes you think, it's all worth it. The film is beautiful. I'm very excited, very proud of it.
We're excited to see it too.
Everyone's excited to see it, but we're holding off until our birthday. We've got a few events coming up where we will be, premiering the film. It's already been won one award.
Yes.
And it's been as a finalist for a second award. So.
All right. Yeah. For those who aren't aware, what award was it that you guys won for the film?
I'll have to ask Lisa.
Is that okay? It's all right. It's all right.
Lisa. But having said that, one of them is she's flying over to the UK for the awards ceremony at the beginning of November. That's the one we're a finalist for. So we will just cross fingers.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry,
of course.
I can't rattle off the full name, but
no, it's all right. It's all right. No problem at all. And as you were saying, even though it's just a handful of beneficiaries that the film is about, in the 20 years that the organization has been running, the impact has been I cannot even imagine actually what the impact must be, and it's just little things like that make an occupation more than just an occupation. Something that you can truly invest yourself into, something that you can live through, and not even have although like in anything there might be doubts that arise here and there, but when you see the gratitude in somebody's facial expression, or when they just truly thank you from the bottom of their heart for what you have done, it's like it just makes it that much sweeter, I've found.
Don't take away what we get out of it as well. I mean, I love my job. I love it. Every day is different. We find solutions. That's the thing. We look at what the problems are, what the challenges are, and a lot of the time, in the farming communities anyway, we don't just work in the wine farms now. We work with all sort of agriculture. The challenges are access. You don't have access to quality education. You don't have access to proper food. You don't have access to quality healthcare. So finding little solutions, that's what I enjoy every day, is we're presented with a problem and we've got to work out how are we going to do this. And that's where the team comes in, because sometimes I'll be like scratching my head and I can't think, someone else will pop up, but why don't we try this? So I think it's a team. We are a team of problem solvers, which makes it quite exciting. It's an exciting job.
Yeah.
And we have now some interns working with us who've come through the whole program. You know, they joined at the creche, the ECD centre, when they were small babies.
Oh, wow.
And they're now interning for the organisation. So
full circle.
the full circle. And hopefully we want to create more and more work experience opportunities, even job opportunities within the organisation. That's what makes it worth it. When you see someone working and they're making money, they, you know, making a living, they're
survive.
Flourishing. They're flourishing.
100%.
Yeah. So that's the reward that you get.
Yeah. No, it is a beautiful thing. I like that you focus there on the problem solving. I like to think of problems not as necessarily obstacles that are in your way, but experiences that make you kind of think differently, climb out of your shell of your way of your perspective of looking at things. I think it was Albert Einstein, in fact, who said something along the lines of no problem can be solved with the same mindset that created it. And
yes, exactly.
It's essentially that. So no, it's amazing to hear that you guys are so invested and that you find enjoyment from it, you know, because it's an incredible thing that you guys are doing, truly.
Thanks.
So you guys have many partners, and we were wondering how your partnerships have helped expand the reach of Pebbles and the impact of Pebbles as a whole.
So we have partners in every way or shape or form. We have funding partners, obviously. Without those funding partners, we wouldn't exist because we need the money to do the work. But we also partner with a lot of other NGOs. So either they support us, they bring their skills and expertise and work with our beneficiaries, or we provide meals for their children. It's a very... I love the NGO world. In some cases, it can be quite protective. People are quite protective of their program or their work or their funders and can have a little shell around them. But I don't believe in that at all. So we're happy to support any other NGO, but we also get a lot of support. So when I see a potential partner that they can bring something that we can learn from, that we don't have those skills necessarily within the organisation. So we partner with a particular organisation who deals with mental health for children. They then came and trained all of our practitioners on how our practitioners can then be mental health first aiders in our facilities on the farms. So it's that sort of collaboration that works just perfectly as well, partnerships in that way.
All right, that makes a lot of sense, and it's so important, imperative, in fact, for non-government organizations and non-profit organizations to band together, because they are the ones that are, let's say, they are the ones making the change that needs to be seen in the world. And with the more support that any single person has, the more they're able to achieve. And so now, as organizations grow, they require more. There's more that needs to be done. There's more that needs to be taken in. And wherever people can come together, the chances are that it's more likely to succeed.
Definitely. We have a number of universities that we partner with. So Stellenbosch University is amazing for us. We have I think it's their accounting students who come and do maths tutoring with our students.
Wow, look at that.
We have occupational therapy students. We have social work students. So the students are learning. They may be in their third, fourth or fifth year. We have medical students from overseas who also come over from overseas universities, and they bring their fresh outlook, the new expertise, the latest research findings. So the students and the universities are huge, also beneficial partners for us. And they bring different perspectives, particularly the overseas ones as well. They see things differently. They see South Africa differently from how we're used to seeing it. Yeah. So we can constantly learn.
That's a good thing. We learn our whole lives, as they say.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop at any point.
And we've made a few mistakes along the way. There are things that haven't gone so well that we've had to go back to the drawing board and go, okay, right, let's redo this or revise that.
That's it is, as you say, it's part of life as well, and even if you have to go back to the drawing board, as long as you're actually willing to do that and you don't cower from the challenge in a sense, now that I find that it's oftentimes the perseverance is the key difference maker in businesses and
Yeah.
in any work with people as well.
Yeah, and resilience.
And resilience, yes.
But also keeping an open mind, because I think I'm very, maybe a bit stubborn, and think I do know the right solution. But now I've also had to learn that I'm surrounded by professionals, and maybe their way is possibly even better than my way. And so eating a bit of humble pie and kind of accepting that, my way is not always the perfect way, but someone in this team is going to come up with the perfect solution.
But that's actually a beautiful thing to hear you say, because yes, as a CEO, delegation is very, very important, and you need to have the right people working with you, people that you can trust, who when something goes south, they can pick up the slack when need to. Because we are all people at the end of the day, no matter, so we're bound to make a mistake, and we're bound to be clueless about some things. So no, it's always necessary to.
Sure.
Yeah.
But also, like with the film that we made, I had to give Liesl complete free rein, not breathe over her, breathe down her neck and look over her shoulder the whole time going, you're not doing this how I would necessarily have done this, but just to say, just go do it, make it beautiful. And it comes back with something that I would never have thought of doing myself, and so therefore I also need to learn. But that's okay.
And I actually think that, again, that's a beautiful thing, because that you have so much trust in her, for example, that you were able to just take a step back, and even though you may have seen one or two things that you didn't necessarily, or maybe not disliked, but you would have done differently, as you said, allowing allowing anybody to actually express themselves fully, and not to kind of step on their toes when they're attempting to do so, I found generally turns out for the best.
Absolutely turned out better than I could ever have expected. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's a good lesson to learn.
Another lesson, yes, as we always do. So, in your opinion, Sophia, I would like to hear, what do you think are the most pressing issues, or some of the most pressing issues within the farming or agricultural communities, and how do you think that we can address them?
I think youth unemployment is probably the most critical thing that we need to be focusing on. If we don't provide support to get the youth to a point where they are employable, and confident and capable, then we're failing that entire generation. So I also think we invest a lot of time and energy and money into the early childhood development, the school enrichment program. If we're not going to focus also on getting the youth really up and running and independent, then we've wasted all of that time and money that we've spent beforehand. So we started our youth development program properly. We'd been working with school leavers for many years, but we started this new program about 3 years ago. And it's developing. We're getting there. We're adapting. We're changing. We're improving as we go along. But if we don't focus on the youth and give them opportunities either on the farms to continue working in the agricultural sector, or off the farms, there are so many opportunities, particularly in the winelands areas with hospitality. So we need to focus on the youth. We need to give them hope. We need to make sure that they know that there's a future for them. Youth unemployment is so high, and I do think they get despondent and think, well, what's the point? But there is a point. So I think that would be probably the most pressing concern that I would have.
What I've noticed as well, yes, unemployment is rife, and you can tell a lot about a country by how much it values its youth, and specifically also its educators. If you are not willing to invest in the youth and in those teaching the youth, then it's difficult to see why you would expect any sort of sustainable progress to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they are the future. They are going to be the ones to take that next step. And if we don't invest in them, how can they?
Sure. Sure. We also need to teaching them the old school values, of grit and determination and hard work and those sorts of things that my dad would have taught me, of like never give up, and if you can do something, do it properly. Things like that, that I think our generation, that my older generation, we were taught, but it did get a bit watered down. I'm not a disciplinarian, or maybe just a little bit, but I also believe in hard work. This getting Pebbles to this point has not been easy.
No, I can't imagine that.
And I think any successful business, NGO, company, anything, it's been hard work. And I also I want the youth to know that really the success does come when you put a bit of hard graft into things. So that's what we're also trying to instill in the children, that we can't just hand out stuff and they expect everything to be done for them. There's got to be some effort put back.
No, I
so
agree
it's
with
finding
you.
a sweet spot in between of encouraging and helping, and where do you stop helping and people help themselves. So
100%. And it's also a thing of value, just to any person. It's like, if you're just coasting through life in a certain sense and you've never actually tried your hardest to achieve something, or let's say the very first problem came up and then you decided, no, this,
it's too hard.
It's too hard. I'm not going to bother. That is a big problem that I see nowadays, because no one seems to be, let's say, they don't want to be doing their best work all the time, because this is not what I care about. I see that a lot. And I mean, yes, we do have, or there are a lot of menial jobs out there that don't necessarily require much alongside the, like, let's say a cashier, or a fast food vendor or something like that, unless they're themselves making the food, but that's besides the point. What happens is it seems like people are moving away from, they're wanting to stay in their comfort zone all the time. That's all that it's about, the comfort zone. And when you're only in that comfort zone, you can never really achieve something worthwhile as a result, because you're never going to take that chance. You're never going to take that risk.
The risk, yeah. No, I mean, setting up Pebbles was a huge risk. And there were times where we were running out of money, and we had to say to all of the staff, we're going to take hours cuts and pay cuts just to get through. It is a risk, because you don't know when your funding's coming next, or, and then you do reach a tipping point where you're going, okay, now we're a bit more sustainable, and now we've got a long-term goal, a long-term strategy, and long-term funding, which makes a huge difference. But you've got to go through the bad times as well. You've got to go through and stick it out.
That yin and that yang, as they say, right?
Exactly.
They come in waves.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. So on that note, actually, do you mind sharing some of your most memorable, or a most memorable moment that you've had working with Pebbles?
Just one.
A few. You don't have to stop at one. You can.
Sure, it's 20 years. We've had a few memorable moments. We've had some tricky moments. We've had some differences of opinions, amongst management of the way to do things. But again, that has been having to learn from people where I thought I was right and actually possibly wasn't, and had to learn other people's way. We've had some tricky times where funding really has been a challenge, of lying awake night after night worrying that the staff that I've employed, we don't have money for them to pay their salaries. And that's an awful situation for any NGO to be in. But it was moments like that when we had a team of staff, and one staff member came to me and she said, I'm reasonably well off because my husband works, but my colleague is a single mum with 2 children. So cut my salary and don't cut hers. I mean, that's incredible when someone who works for you comes and says, I'll look out for my colleague over and above myself. So moments like that make you think there's such humanity in the world. People really do care about each other. So we've had some great moments. I mean, landing a new donor is always a reason for celebration. We've now got a bell in the office
Oh, look at that.
we can ring the bell when a new donor comes on board, and that's been exciting because now we have some funders who they've approached us and said, we hear what you're doing, so can we get on board and partner with you to fund a program? And so some of the the bigger donors that we've got are significant, and also they've stayed with us year after year. It's a sign of success, I think, when a donor trusts you. They're giving you millions, and they say, just spend it properly. So those are highlights.
I can imagine that with a bell now in the office, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
it
quite
creates
nice.
quite a nice environment. Actually, everyone gets psyched. It's like whenever the bell rings, it's like
Yeah. But it's the little wins as well. When one of our young adults passes their driving test, and they are now free. They've got a sense of freedom, and or they do well in an exam, or they get a job. Placed outside of the organisation. So we have our one of our poster boys. He was a student, and we took them on a visit to the fire station. We often talk about Tashwal, this young man, and he loved the fire station so much he wanted to volunteer there. So we bought him a bicycle, and he could then get there. He's now still working for the fire service. He a couple of years ago won a second toughest fireman in the country or something.
That's awesome.
But he goes back to his farm and he inspires the other children and the youth on his farm in his community of you want something, you work hard, you stick at it, and you will be successful. So it's those. Yeah, they're not always monetary wins, or they're not always, but sometimes it's just one person.
Yeah.
Doing something for themselves, maybe failing their driving test once, but they then sort themselves out and go back and do it again, second time, and just come back and say, I did it. So, yeah, we celebrate the big ones as well as the little ones.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, actually. It's so important. So often we can get so caught up in the grand scheme of things, thinking that, no, but this needs to happen. That when something, even if it's a little thing like that, like somebody passing their driver's test, that, there's little things like that happen, then you can actually celebrate that. It actually gives you more momentum to run towards that goal that you have.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what does the future of Pebbles Project look like?
Well, we've made a decision that we're not going to grow geographically for a little while, because we're working about 6 or 7 areas, geographical areas. But Stellenbosch is the only area that's got all of the services and all of the programs, from maternal health all the way through.
I see.
So other areas, for example, Clanwilliam, we've got a mobile health service there, and we provide some food to other NGOs there. But we don't run education programs there. We don't have a fixed clinic there. We don't have social workers. So what we're looking at is rolling out all of our services and programs in the areas that we're currently working in.
Yeah.
Then we can say, okay, Citrusdal, you're fully covered. Grabo, fully covered. In the different regions. And then we can start looking at maybe expanding geographically.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, so the programs are all at the stage where they can be replicated easily now. Well, it's not easily, but I mean, they can be replicated, let's put it that way. Yeah. We'll do that and get those areas covered fully before we start looking at anything.
All right.
Bigger.
So no new initiatives or anything like that.
I don't know. I say this every year. The staff will roll their eyes because I say we're not taking on anything new this year. Nothing. We're just going to focus on what we're doing. And then 2 weeks later, I go, oh gosh, no, this new exciting thing has come. Last year I said we're not doing anything new, and then we were approached by a corporate who wanted to fund a soap recycling project. And of course, I'm like, yeah, that sounds brilliant. So we now have a soap factory, which employs some of our youth who need a protective work environment. It promotes health and hygiene. It's a way that they can earn an income, and it saves the planet because it's old soaps from hotels that gets recycled rather than put in landfill.
I love it.
So it's little things like that. If an idea pops up and someone comes to us and says, and if it fits with our remit, then we'll do it. So no, I can't say that next year we won't be doing anything big. Let's watch this space. We have a little primary school in Hermanus. We weren't intending to ever have a primary school in Hermanus, but the government school closed down and we didn't know what to do with all of the children. So we opened a school.
You made a plan. Yeah.
We made a plan. So what's going to happen in the next 5 years? I have absolutely no idea. but it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I think that what you say there is also very, very important is actually keeping an open mind, not just being so set in our ways and our thinking of this is how we're going to do this. And it's the only possible way, because then something like that can come along and then you're so focused on this that you're just blind to it entirely.
Sure. And you miss an opportunity.
Exactly.
And my friends who know me well know that on my tombstone, it's going to say never missed an opportunity.
That is beautiful.
In my private life, but in my work life as well. Things come along and they're just too good to be true. So you have to grab them with both hands. I think one idea that we did have was entrepreneurial pods. Now the staff will all be rolling their eyes now because it's something I've been talking about. So I talk about things and I plant the seeds.
Oh, yes.
And everyone's like, oh, not something new, not something new. And then they go, oh, but that was a really good, so then it starts and it grows.
Yes.
But I would love to have a series of different, those little garden pods, those sort of freestanding buildings.
Oh, yes.
Like those tiny home kind of things. But for the entrepreneurs in the organisation. So we could have an IT one where we teach how to repair broken IT equipment. We have a young lady who's a seamstress. She did a design course in a clothing making. To have a little sewing pod where she can make her own clothes, sell. We can sell thrifted clothes.
That sounds
we
like a
can
great
repair.
idea, yeah.
So I'm just thinking along those lines. How can we set up little businesses that can be run by our beneficiaries? And they can then train up others to work there with them. I'm going in that direction a bit.
Okay.
Quite like that. Yeah.
No, I do like that, especially when it comes to the seamstress, for example, right? We have such a throwaway culture nowadays that it's so much easier to just go and to throw it away and then buy something new than to actually put in the effort to replace it. But then there's another part of that I've heard recently that it's how can I say that people are also, even if they had the capability to do so, a lot of people have told me that they're just lazy. I'd rather just go and buy something new. And it's just like, wow, that's it's funny, but that is actually the world that we live in at the moment, is that the people, I mean, and it's to a certain degree it's understandable, because if you already have a 9-to-5 job, for instance, and you then a wife and kids at home, or whatever, you're so busy already in that little environment that when something happens, like, oh, my pants tore, and it's like, okay, but then maybe I should actually just go and buy a new one. So there's a lot that goes into it, but no, I like the seamstress idea. I will say. Yeah.
I do think the young generation, though, these Gen Zs are into thrifting. They buy their clothes from thrift stores, and so if we could have someone who could do alterations, then I don't have to do it. I don't have time to sit and sew in the evening, but I would love to give something to an up-and-coming business for her, to make money, and I will pay someone to do it. So I think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Oh, I really do.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
No, I would say all the best with it if you
Thanks.
guys do decide to follow up on it. Yeah, no, it's a great idea. So it has been an incredible conversation, Sophia.
Thank you.
I've very much enjoyed it. I have one last one for you though. If you had one message for South Africa, what would it be, and why?
So I was prepared for this question,
Yeah.
and I asked in our office before you arrived, and one of our interns who started with Pebbles when he was 3 months old, and he's now interning for us.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's been with us for over 20 years. I said, Ashley, what do you think? What would be the right answer? And he said, the message for South Africa is be positive, because it's so easy to look at the things that are not going right. And the things that are a challenge, and there are a lot of challenges in South Africa. But if you look at everything with a positive mindset, I loved the fact that he came up with that. He's a young adult. His whole life is ahead of him. And he's thinking, I need to be positive and I need to spread positivity. So that would be it. Be positive. Acknowledge that there are negatives, but look at the cup half full.
100%.
Because South Africa has got it. It's got so much more than many other places in the world.
It really does.
Yeah. People sometimes ask, why do you live here? Why, you're from London. Why aren't you in England? Things are better there. They're not.
No.
They're really not.
Grass always looks greener.
Absolutely. So, yeah, let's leave it at that. Be positive.
No, that is absolutely stunning. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for that. It is so true, because there is so much negativity in our world nowadays, and we never actually realize how far a single act of kindness
There you go. Oh, I
can
like what
go,
you
or
did there.
just positivity,
Yeah, it
can
is.
go. Like,
Yeah.
it can really turn somebody's whole life around. In fact, even if it seems so minuscule, sometimes, yeah, it's those little things that make all the difference in life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Sophia. Again, I will say it has been an incredible conversation. I have
Cool.
very much enjoyed speaking to you. You seem to be in the right place. I'll say that much. No, we wish you all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you.
We will may just come by for a follow-up interview sometime. We'll
Okay,
see.
that'd be
We'll
lovely.
see.
Yeah, you're always welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. We wish you all the best with it. Keep doing what you're doing. It is necessary. So thank you for it. And
Thanks.
all the best with it. May
Cool.
peace and prosperity follow you guys. And to everyone watching,
Thank you. Yeah.
thank you very much for taking part with us. And we will see you on the next one. Maybe leave a like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Cheers.